Hi, everyone. I just want to go through another little video with you to look at the pro rata changes in terms of dollars. And I think this is a better way of understanding what we've been trying to do over the last 15 years around pro rata. Okay, so a couple of pieces of history. So it's important to realize that in 2004, in that time frame, there was a goal set in the contract to try to move the adjunct overload salary schedule to 80% of the contract regular salary schedule. So this whole notion of pro rata is just saying that the adjunct overload schedule is a derivative of the full-time schedule, and it's based on this percentage, and that's the pro rata number. And so it was decided to try to move that to 80%. In the 2015-16 year, I was I was the treasurer, I was on council, and we had been working on pro rata for quite a while since I had started with the union. And what I noticed was that when we had a debate about how much to move pro rata, it was looking like we were always heading towards what I would call an equal raise for equal work. And the idea there is if you're not looking in flat percentage terms, but looking in terms of dollars in the similar cell, you'll find that you can use pro rata to make that adjustment. And I'll provide a link to some of the papers and presentations I provided back in that time frame. But the main thing is to recognize that in 2016, in the spring, we used this as a sort of guidepost for negotiations. And the idea was to slowly move this in kind of a measured way. We've gotten to 66.2 in the 15 years since 2004. So, to get to this 80%, we're looking at sort of a 50-year strategy. And it's just important to see that in context. So you might recognize this. This was a chart that was sent around in email. It was provided with some color coding, which, colors can, especially in percentages like this may look very challenging and that, it's a really unfair system. But the idea here is that when you look at this not in terms of percentages, but in terms of dollars, you get a slightly different picture. Okay, so what does this look like in terms of dollars? Well, if you look at it in terms of dollars, you'll see that in an equivalent position, so class 1, step 1, you'll see that in per TU raise, like the full-timers are seeing $48 to what they would receive as overload or an adjunct would receive as overload. And then, you see the new steps here. So the idea here is that to allow those two numbers to get closer together, right? So if you wanted to hit the 80% goal, there should be a certain relationship between the pay schedules. And so the idea is to close that gap. If we add a little bit of color coding, then you see that what was once this really harsh, red versus green versus yellow becomes a much more kind of distributed rainbow of raises. And in all cases, you'll see that, the equivalent adjunct overload raise is still a little bit smaller than the full-time raise. All right, thank you very much. I just wanted to kind of show this perspective so you understand some of the decisions that are being made at the table and in the e-board and at council. So thank you very much.